Are you being promoted to professorship, at the academic institution you're at? Like these kind of things, which again, there's nothing wrong with any of them. They're fine in and of themselves. But when we come to tie our self-worth to them, when we look to them for our deepest source of fulfillment, that's when we fall short. And I find myself in that bucket as well. So when it comes to my children, I find myself thinking about this all the time with my wife Alice. How do we teach them to really build a life where they are anchored on that triad of fulfillment? And I know that there are many things that we're trying, but one of the things that's really important is for us to lead by example. As somebody once told me when before we had our first child, sometimes your kids will listen to what you say, sometimes if you're lucky, but more often they'll listen to what you do. They'll take from your example. And so in this phase, that's exactly what I'm trying to think about, even more so. Like, how do I build this next phase of my life around family and friends? How do I engage in a sense of service? How do I make sure my purpose key stays anchored on ultimately uh, doing what I know makes my heart sing, which is to try to contribute to ways to build community, to help people return to a sense of meaning in their own lives. So it's an ongoing effort, in my own life. But one thing I know is that if the more we're able to talk openly about these journeys that we're on, the more we're able to give visibility to the importance of these core values around relationships, purpose, and service, the easier it is for our kids to see these not as things that are off to the side, but as pathways that are really central to how they should construct and build their own lives. One last thing I should say on this, though, Jack, is that these three elements that I mentioned, relationships, purpose, and service, I find that they have to be anchored in a core virtue as well. And that virtue is love. And love has multiple manifestations we know as generosity, as compassion, as kindness, as patience, as forgiveness. But one of the things have worried about is, in addition to the erosion of relationships, purpose, and service, it's that core virtue of love is something that we don't talk about enough, that we don't explicitly and intentionally build in to how we raise our kids and how we shape the influences that they see.